Plug in the companion, turn on the gas, power up the GC. Loading all the software takes about 1 minute. The DPS software always loads the method that was last run. The FPD detector signal is negative. The data system can handle this, but we have to reverse the signal. In the data system, select Open Control File, Reverse, the control file opens. Under Acquisition, Run, wait for 10 seconds, you'll see a square peak. When the peak comes down to the baseline, hit Acquisition, Stop. Now we're ready to run. Load the gasoline control file. The program boots up. Sample description is double-clicking here. Additional comments. Back to the DPS software. Let's look at the oven temperature program. It starts at 80 and ramps to 160. To change a value, click on it and change the number. Now let's go to the oven page. We'll preheat the oven to 160 degrees. The carrier pressure is stable. Now let's look at the detector page. The detector temperature is also heating up. The pressures are stable. To turn the detector on, click here. Notice the detector signal gets more negative. Once the detector temperature is above 120, you can turn on the detector. Back to the oven page, you can see that the column oven is heating up. We'll let both temperatures heat until they stabilize. Once the oven has had a chance to equilibrate at temperature, we'll cool it down and get ready for the first sample analysis. Back to the detector page. The detector temperature is stabilized. The pressures are still equilibrated. We'll let the oven cool down to ready, and then we're ready to shoot our first sample. Back to the run page. We wait for the not ready to become ready. To load the syringe, insert the needle in the vial. Pull the plunger back a few times to get rid of the bubbles. Then pull up 2 microliters. Take the needle out of the vial and pull a little air back in the syringe so you don't lose any sample when you start to inject. To inject a sample, insert the needle into the septum. The needle has to go all the way inside the column. Sometimes you have to move it back and forth a little bit to make sure. Hit the start button, inject, then remove the syringe. After hitting the start button, the data system appears. Even though the FPD is almost blind to hydrocarbons, in the front of the chromatogram we still see some major hydrocarbon constituents of gasoline. A little later on, the sulfur-containing compound thionaphthane appears. By double-clicking in the left-hand corner where the sample name appears, you can enter current sample information. These are the parts of the FPD: the detector block and drip well, the drain tube, the heat sink, photomultiplier, and below is the cooling fan to cool the photomultiplier, the parts of the FPD detector. When you've finished with the gasoline samples, it's time to load the diesel method. Open control file, diesel. The data system loads this method. When this is finished, switch to the DPS software and again load the diesel method. You're now ready to run diesel samples. Let's look at the diesel method. On the Run page, you see the temperature program and pressure program. Looking more closely at the temperature program, you see it starts at 90 degrees and ramps up to 250. The pressure program also starts at a low pressure and ramps up to a higher one to push the compounds out of the column quicker. When you've finished with your analyses, turn off the GC, X out of the DPS software, and then turn off Windows. Once Windows shuts down, power off the GC. Have a great day.